Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're finally seeing a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the pandemic, but there's another pandemic starting. It's the pandemic of addiction and mental health issues. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's I spies.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we could all have predicted this a year ago. What happens with the pandemic? You're under stress, you're at home. If you have any kind of alcohol issues, you're probably self-medicating at home. And we're starting to see just a tidal wave of addiction and mental health issues coming to light. To talk about that today, the good folks from the Santé Center for Healing. Thank you for coming on the show, Melissa Pennington and Sam Slaton. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I've known you guys for a decade. You guys have been around for a long time. I didn't realize, how many years are you celebrating?
Yes, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary at Santé Center for Healing. So we opened in 1996.
And part of what makes you guys magical is you really are kind of one-stop shopping for a variety of addictions. It's not just drugs and alcohol. Is that right, Melissa?
Absolutely. In addition to chemical dependency, we also offer treatment for problematic sexual behavior, for eating disorders, trauma, and just mental health in general.
And that's important because often addictions are coexisting, right? I saw a wonderful video that you posted on YouTube saying that at some places they might be able to treat one, but they can't treat both.
Absolutely. And I think that at Santé, we recognize that oftentimes the addictions and the behaviors are a symptom of a deeper issue. And that's what we really specialize in Santé, is getting to the heart of the trauma and what's impacting someone's daily life.
Sam, let's get you in the conversation. What drew you to Santé Center?
Well, my past is I'm a therapist by trade. I'm the chief operating officer currently at Santé Center. But I did my internship for graduate school and counseling at Santé Center. Ultimately, I just fell in love with the environment, the people that work there, the passion of those individuals to serve others in this fight against addiction and underlying trauma issues.
Yes, and it's a beautiful campus. I want you to talk about this. We're going to put some pictures on the screen. But tell us about the feeling when you come there, Melissa.
So I spent many years working in Dallas before I went to Santé, and I can tell you just my drive out to work is so much more enjoyable. I'm passing by horses and hay bales, wide open fields. We've got walking paths and lakes and trees, and it's a really comfortable place to recover.
Yes, and I've been up there. It's been a decade since I was up there to visit, but I remember getting a warm feeling as soon as you walk in. It was just warm and inviting. It feels like home.
Yeah, a very serene environment. We're on 16 acres in Argyle. So just like Dr. Pennington said, it's the environment is welcoming, it's serene, truly allows someone to disconnect from the world and focus on themselves and healing.
Yes, and you put together some wonderful testimonials in the form of commercials. I've seen them on all the channels. I found one that I particularly like. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Suffering from an addiction? Santé Center for Healing can help turn your life around.
Going to Santé was the only option I had. They gave me back. After about 3 weeks, I was able to look in a mirror for the first time in months and love the person that I saw. This is the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Santé Center counselors are available any day, anytime. Get the help you need now.
And that's got to be so gratifying to watch somebody really succeed in an area that I have to believe that there's kind of a cycle, isn't there?
There is a cycle, and sometimes relapse is a part of the disease. But I'll tell you, so many people, when I tell them what I do, say that must be so hard. What a difficult job. And my response is, I love my job. And I love my job because I see people get better. People do recover. People go on to lead very healthy, fulfilling lives. And we get to be a part of that.
Absolutely. And I think what makes Santé so unique is that we offer individualized treatment, and that it's not a cookie cutter approach, and that we're able to really focus on everyone's holistic needs. So family of origin issues, trauma, unresolved stressors, in addition to the drug or alcohol issues.
We were talking before the show that some of this stuff really got exposed during the pandemic, because if you're on lockdown with somebody who might be hiding addiction issues, it's really hard to hide under one roof, isn't it?
Yes, I think that people who maybe already had a bit of a drinking problem started drinking more in isolation. I think that people who maybe were social drinkers prior to the pandemic started drinking more at home. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people who are in recovery and lost access to their recovery support network and relapsed. And so we're seeing all of that come into play.
And you've won just countless awards. We're going to put up on the screen a couple of them, Best of Denton County and Top Docs. That's got to feel good to be recognized by your peers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, our alumni speak for our program, but to be acknowledged in the community and to be acknowledged by other professionals, it is a good feeling to have for sure.
Yeah. We're going to put a map up so people can get an idea where you guys are located. Argyle. Okay, that's not too far away. What was your drive into our studios today?
Well, I live in the South Lake area. And so, I mean, Argyle is like a 20-minute drive for me, and it's about a 20-minute drive over here as well. So
perfect.
Yeah, about 45 minutes from door to door, Argyle to the studio.
Yeah. But I can tell you from visiting, when you go there, it does feel like you've gone to another place. I mean, it doesn't feel like the Metroplex. So let's talk more about how somebody knows when they need you. Most people, I'm imagining, say, I can do this myself.
I think there are a lot of people out there who try that in the beginning, and oftentimes it doesn't work. There's a very simple screening questionnaire that's often used in primary care offices called the CAGE questionnaire. And so it's CAGE, which is, have you ever tried to cut down or control your drinking? For the majority of people, if you're not alcoholic, they don't see a need to ever try to cut down on their drinking. Have you ever been annoyed by someone criticizing the amount that you drink? Do you ever feel guilty about how much you drink? And have you ever had an eye-opener or a drink in the morning to kind of steady your nerves? And so more than one positive on that screening test it's an indicator that it might need to have a little bit more looked at.
So you don't get to stay in business for 25 years without doing something amazing, because I know your business is based on a lot of referrals from a lot of people who know what they're doing. What would you say, Sam, is the secret to your success?
Well, I don't want to directly quote Walt Disney here, but Walt Disney said that you can design the most beautiful building there is, but if you don't have the right people, it won't be successful. And that truly is, I feel, what sets us apart is the people that we have there at Santé are family, and we operate as a family, and we're there to serve. Everyone there has it in their innate ability, in their heart, to serve others, and that's something that we truly excel in.
And I feel like our staff is so large, and obviously everybody who works there is so important, but there's not one single person who is essential for the business to operate. Like, we're all important, but if we have a therapist change out, we have such a good groundwork that we always do well with our patients.
So two topics I want to cover before we close. Sexual addiction and eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, do you want to take one?
Probably defer to Dr. Pennington here on this one, so we'll let the physician handle this.
Well, so Santé is not an eating disorder treatment center, but we do treat eating disorders, and so there's a subtle difference. If somebody just has just kind of straight up anorexia nervosa, it's probably not the type of place that I would send them. However, if somebody has alcoholism, a significant trauma history, borderline personality disorder, and they're binging and purging or restricting, that's our bread and butter. That's what we do really well with the co-occurring disorders and really helping address the substance abuse, the personality traits, the trauma at the same time as the eating disorder.
Let's talk about sexual addiction, because when I was a kid, you had to go get a naughty magazine. These days, you can just pull it up on your iPhone. That's got to be... It's
really frightening. I think the average age for first pornography viewing now is 8 or 9.
Wow.
And so we do see a lot of that difficulty with our patients. And, the proper terminology these days is problematic sexual behavior, not just sex addiction. And is that doing anything that's going outside of your own morals or values? Are you breaking commitments? Are you putting yourself or others in danger? And are you engaging in activities that have a tendency to get you into trouble? And so just like any other addictive behavior, sex addiction is something that can be treated. But we often have to examine all of those other things at the same time, the trauma, the substance abuse, because so often they go hand in hand.
All right, Sam, let's give you the final word. If somebody's watching this and it's either that they recognize these warning signs of themselves or a loved one, what would you like to say to that person about don't put it off any longer?
Yeah, Jeff, I would say that there's no right time to get into treatment. The need is to get in now. And that's for you yourself as an individual to make that call, or a family member or loved one to make that call on behalf of someone else. And that's why Santé is available 24/7, 365 to be able to help you make the best decision of your life and get the help that you've needed for so long and struggled with. And the nature of addiction is that you can't do it on your own. You need help. And that can be very difficult for people, a lot of shame around that, asking for help. But at Santé, we're going to make it easy for you to make that right decision.
Outstanding. You guys have been great guests. We're going to have you back soon. Let's end by putting the website up so everybody can get in touch. It's santecenter.com. Beautiful campus. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.